what's your relationship with titles right now? Because personally, like, I don't think I'll ever title a photograph again.
I don't think I'll ever title an individual photograph ever
And
again.
even projects, like I mean, I've got so many. Whenever I write something, I always just do, and I'm literally at the point where it's like, title TBD 24, title TBD 25, and it's not because I'm trying to be like, oh, this, you know, I'm so bad at it. I don't want to put something on because you know, you go for the names or like the really simple description or whatever, and you're like, this is perfect. And,
and I've done both. I have gone into, you know, going back to screenwriting, I've gone into a screenplay. This is the title because I know what this thing is about. And others where I'm like, I know what I'm going to write. I know what the characters are. I know what their objective is. I know what like the rules are of whatever the thing is, the concept, whatever. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know what the title is. I'll have some working titles, maybe just in a notebook. And then sometimes after I've written a rough draft or a couple drafts, I would come back and sort of reverse engineer the title based on what I was seeing in the work. Yeah. And similar to the photographs, you know, people who are alone together, and people in isolation.
I think that's actually a book
them.
title.
Probably. Alone. I mean, that seems pretty. I mean, that's a nice kind of paradox. But
it's like alone, together. Yeah.
Right. But you know, I could see with the photo collection, just, you know, titling it something simple and unpretentious, just to represent the through line of the work. And that's what, to me, the screenplay was as well. Like the title represents sort of the spine of what this is, what it means to you. And, you know, I mean, just, you know, some of the things I love most about movies is just the title of the movie, you know, whether it's something that's a little bit out there, or it's something
There's definitely
that's
some
simpler.
Movies with better titles than the movie.
100%, yeah. I mean, and then movies where I read the spec screenplay and I loved the title of the spec and they changed it to something else, like this one spec called The Low Dweller that was originally going to have Leonardo DiCaprio, blah, blah, ended up being a movie called Out of the Furnace, with Christian Bale. And I, you know, even if Out of the Furnace is a nice kind of catchy title, it's a phrase that we've heard before, out of the furnace and into the fire. Is that what that is? You know, it feels like a little bit like some producers went, what about Out of the Furnace? Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
That tests well.
That's good.
You know,
That's good.
We A/B tested this after the test screenings, and the people really responded to this one. Well, let's just let the audience title our stuff.
Yeah.
So
which happens.
Sure.
More.
Yeah. So, you know, I Raging Bull keeps popping into my head.
Me too. Yeah. I'm like, that's a great title. And then you go through,
title.
It's just like, he's the king of like The Irishman, Taxi Driver.
Yeah. You know, so so you think about all that kind of stuff, and there's some that are just really special and they work, and there's others that maybe are.
Is Raging Bull the title of the story that it's based on?
I don't know.
The
source material?
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know if it's directly based on an autobiography or if LaMotta was just involved with the.
And a lot of times the movie title is better than the source material title.
Yeah.
Like,
what would that would be, I guess, Schrader's titles, right?
Well, like
I mean, The Irishman wouldn't, but
I remember like do
American Gigolo. Great
American
title.
Gigolo.
Great title.
There's like a sci-fi book like Do Sheep Dream About Electric?
Yeah,
whatever.
do androids dream of electric sheep? And it became Blade Runner.
Yeah, like, you know, Blade Runner's hard to argue as a pretty awesome title for a movie like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, when it goes to your photography, I like that you named your projects. Yeah. It sort of grounds me, and it gives me a place to start from without you telling me how to think or feel. It gives me an orientation. So if I just... But then at the same time, I think about some of my photos with people isolated, and I think if we put that in a pop-up gallery and didn't have any title, nothing... I think that people could still have a satisfactory experience. Like, it would still be same thing with Meyerowitz. If he did a gallery of all his Cape Light photos and never said Cape Light, honestly, I think he could put that book out, take the Cape Light off the title, and just have the photograph, and it speaks for itself, especially as you discover what the spine of the book is.
Like, I mean, I've told you about some of the meetings I've had with people where it's like, you need to title all of these. You need a description about the photograph. Like gallery owners, people that are respected for their opinions on photography, and like you've mentioned a couple of gatekeepers. And you need and I'm like, are we removing all of the? We're just removing anything we're removing any kind of romance. We're removing any kind of mythology. We're removing any kind of intellectual experience. Like,
well, the gift,
the intellectual experience shouldn't be figuring out what the title means. The intellectual experience should be relating to the scene that's being presented. It should be, whether that's a tableau or whether that's a portrait, that should be the intellectual experience, not, I'm pretty sure this is German. I need to, let's break down the original Latin roots of this title. Like that shouldn't be, or like, I don't know. Like just,
I think about like The Shining and some of the work that has come analyzing all the imagery in that film and all that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that people are trying to read into, the Native American symbolism on some of the food products in the thing and how that relates to, the greater elements of the story where the hotel's built on a Native American burial ground. Like, I love people trying to figure it out and find meaning and doing all that stuff. Just like if I took a photograph, like I could have a gallery and I could go to every photo that I took and I could tell you what was meaningful to me, why I took the photo, what I like in the image and all that. But then that becomes cemented in what the photo is and in like the history of that photograph. And so when other people come to it and find their own meaning, but then maybe they look up what I said about it in a YouTube video where we talked about the work in my gallery, and then all of a sudden what I said about it overpowers what they thought about it. I just think it's more fun as someone who took the photograph to watch people see what strikes them or what is meaningful to them in the photograph, what it means to them when they see it.
It had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the sunrise.